All right, looks like we are live. Check 1, 2. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Check 1, 2. Hopefully you guys can hear that just fine. This is the control room. And hopefully everything is going all right. And on there, stick with me just a second. I'm going to go to my YouTube channel and make sure that I can actually, I don't want to go there. I want to go here. Thanks for joining me. Getting stuff set up here. Making sure that everything is hunky-dory, all that good stuff. Kaylee has joined us. Thank you so much for joining us, Kaylee. Appreciate that. Good deal. Looks like we can hear. All right, that's awesome. All right, so let me get this onto a different screen here. But you want to be staring at that all day long. Okay, that looks all right. I'm going to hide that, hide that, hide that. And let's see, can we full screen this? There we go. All right. So we are going over today one of my very first serious guitars. I'm going to be talking about my Fender Malibu. And I'm going to, let's see, can I see? I can see the chat here. Okay, so I am able to see the chat, and I can see it. Can I see? Oh, let me make sure that I've got it wound up right. There, now I can see the chat over there. Okay. So for now, that's what I'm going to do. Make sure everything looks all right. I have everything, I think, ready to stream today. I've got my coffee. Love me some Big Train Kahuna Mocha, however you pronounce that. Love some ice mocha. All right. So, like I said, my Fender Malibu is my very first main guitar. Hopefully everybody can see everything. One more thing, one more second. I just thought of something. Now that I'm actually knowing this is working, I think it might be a good idea to let everybody else know that I'm live. So let's go ahead and go to Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. And Instagram. Sorry to be doing this stuff at the beginning, guys, but hopefully that'll, I ain't gonna worry about it. I don't know, guys. Instagram, I can do it real quick. I can go ahead and upload that. Let's see, that would be that one. Is it that one? Nope. Oh, no, it's in downloads. So this guitar that I'm talking about is, where's it at? There, okay. Is a guitar that I've had for years, and if you've seen it already on the thumbnail, you should be able to see that right? Yeah. Okay, it's on Instagram. Is it on Facebook? It's about to be. Come on, post the thumbnail. There it is. And Twitter. The big three for me. Upload the thumbnail. Let people see what's going down. Tweet that, and we are off and running, folks. Good deal. Gotta let everybody know it only be fair. All right. Gotta be fair. Good deal. All right. So thank you so much for joining me. Sorry about all this hubbub and all this stuff. We're going to get right on into this. So this is my guitar. The Fender Malibu is. And I've had this since about 94, 95. And this is when I first started. If you remember my previous guitar story that I did, my guitar story, my guitar journey, however I put it, I talked about being with a group called the Heavenly Travelers, which was composed of me and my sister and my two stepbrothers, JC, Shane Hood, Melissa, now Merrill, and then myself, Eric Beatty. And our stepmom, Karen, would come in there and help us every now and then. But we created an album together years ago. And this guitar, they bought for me when we started first coming together as a singing group. So without further ado, I'm talking about it. Let's go ahead and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to step out of the picture for a second. And today is all about my reaction to this guitar after years of not even playing it. Since I've had my Breedlove and my Martin guitar, haven't really done anything with this guitar. It's basically, I detuned the strings so that I could, may not even need that laptop going, but we'll just leave it there for right now. Since I've been playing with those two guitars, my other two acoustics, and a lot of these electrics, as you can see down here, my Ibanez way down here, haven't really touched this guitar at all. And this thing has been a workhorse. In this case, you can see the case is all beat up. I've had to duct tape it with black duct tape. When I used to put, stickers and stuff on all my cases, I don't do that anymore, really, because I kind of like the clean look of it. But this was my original workhorse. Okay, some of the stickers here you can see. National Atheist Day, April 1st. The fool has said in his heart there is no God, Psalm 14:1. And I think there's another place, maybe Psalm 42, somewhere around there. It kind of says the same thing. No Jesus, no peace. No Jesus, no peace. Can you see those? They're upside down to me. How come you can't read them? That's weird. You should be able to see these right side up. Maybe you can't. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It looks backwards. This one says, heaven, don't miss it for the world. This one says, when the last trumpet sounds, I'm out of here. This one says, exercise daily, walk with the Lord. And this number is number 84. This was from when I went back and played a competition. I want to say it was Birdstown. It might have been, I think it was Birdstown. When I was down there and I met Ron Block. I've got some pictures on Facebook of me. If you look at the album of guitars, and more guitars, if you scroll towards the bottom, you'll see pictures of this guitar and this badge that I had. This was my contestant number when I was playing. I met Ron Block for the first time, which was amazing. Big time fan of Allison Crafts and Union Station. So this is the guitar for me that really started it all. Okay, so I'm going to open this up and let you kind of gaze into its eyes while we talk about it for just a little bit before I start changing the strings. So I used all these latches everywhere else. This one has 4 latches and that's it. Okay, if we open it up, you can't see anything yet, so let's just go ahead and turn it around, I guess. Yeah, there it is. Oh my goodness, look how gorgeous that is. That is gorgeous. Man, I haven't seen this guitar in years. Still looks pristine, still looks awesome. Let's see what it sounds like. Still sounds pretty much in tune. Now, I lowered the tuning on this, like I said, so that the bridge wouldn't have any problems. And it doesn't feel like there's any bowing or anything. And like I said, I haven't touched this guitar in years. There's a lot of rust here. Big time rust. Apologize for a little bit of the overexposure for the camera. Maybe I can dial that down a little bit. Let me see if I can do that real quick. It is upside down to you because it's facing me. We'll fix that here in a minute. So let me get back over here to, I need to get this, move it over where I can see a little bit better. Let me dial the brightness down just a hair so there won't be so much of that. All right. So, okay. So hopefully you can see me over this. This is weird. So this guitar, like I said, are we still live? Okay. Like I said, I apologize for the squeaky chair too. Let's talk about this guitar for a minute, okay? Because this is the quintessential guitar for me. This has been through so many things. And I hope Dad watches this later on today. If he's not watching it yet, he usually jumps in for some of this stuff. Let me text him real quick. All right, I'm live on YouTube now. All right, he'll get that. And he'll probably join and watch for a little bit. So this guitar started it all. And here's how I got this. Okay, so like I said with my Stratocaster that I had years ago, I went to Karen at the time, my stepmom, when her and Dad were dating, she lived in Crossville. And so we'd go up there to Crossville all the time. Dad became acquainted with a lot of people up there in Crossville. He's a preacher. And so we found a lot of, different churches and things like that in Crossville to go to and to sing at. And as we was going up there, I've always been a fan of music stores. So I love going into music stores just about everywhere I go. Music stores and bookstores, I'm a happy camper if I can find one of those two things. And a real happy camper if I can find both. So there was a store in Crossville called Strings and Things. And I think Joe Curley was the guy that owned it, if I'm not mistaken. Shortly before he went out of business, which was years later, I think after Amazon became a big thing and shut everybody else down, we was in there, and I remember this room like it was yesterday. He had like two rooms side by side. As soon as you walk in the door, there's this long hallway. You make a right or left, and then another left. If you turn to face left, going back down the same direction you came up, but on the other side of the wall, there was a row of guitars on the wall, and there was a row of guitars on the floor. They had them standing, so there was the stands were facing back to back, and the guitar bodies were here, and their necks would come up here and join. A whole row of these going down the aisle. If I'm not mistaken, that's how he had them set up. But I know there's a line of them down on the floor and a line of them on the walls. And I think underneath all the ones on the walls were amps and stuff. Just another room over was all the electric guitars, the same way. Okay, that's where I got my Stratocaster in 2001 that I sold off here a few years back. And that's where this guitar came from. This guitar back then was listed at $299, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. My Fender guitar was listed at $299 as well. Unheard of in today's market. You can't even get a Mexican-made Strat now for under $500. And they're not really promoting them because they want to promote the bigger stuff, the American-made and all the other stuff. But anyway, I saw this guitar and fell in love with it mainly because of this headstock. It would make it so much easier to tune the keys if they were all in line, and it has. It's been a big, major, huge improvement and big deal to be able to tune all the keys. And I thought it was so cool that it looked like an electric guitar. It's not a cutaway. I had to double check that. What I used to have to do is they still do make these, but they made these old plug-ins or these pickups that you would attach to the body of the guitar. And you'd hook up your little 3x5 millimeter cord that converted to a 1/4 inch cable, and you'd plug that into your PA, and there was your hookups. So that's the way I usually had to do that. And it always sounded horrible. But this guitar was sitting there, and I looked at it for months and really wanted this guitar. And what ended up happening was, I want to say this guitar, I want to say it was $299, but it could have been $325 or $329 or something like that. It was in that range. So I think it was one Christmas, maybe. I don't remember the actual day, but we was at Karen's house. We often gathered over there. We would eat, she would make us macaroni cheese, mashed potatoes, all that home-cooked stuff we loved. And we'd get Little Caesars. You remember when Little Caesars used to have the big square pans and they were cutting squares? We used to have those, and they were awesome. Back then, they were extra most cheesiest, bestest, or whatever it's called. They have decreased their standards over the years, and now what's today is extra best cheesiest used to be back then. So that's the way the market goes, I guess. But we were over there either for a Christmas or some kind of holiday or something. And I think we just got back home from school, and we was going over there to visit that evening, hang out. And they led me to I want to say it was the kitchen. Seems like dining room or something. And there this guitar was in its case, came with a case, the hard shell case. There it was, and I was like floored. My jaw hit the floor. I know it did. And I was like so amazed that I had this guitar, and I was so thankful. I still am so thankful. That's why I've not gotten rid of this guitar because there's so many memories behind it, okay? This is my crown jewel of guitars. And the cool thing is that my brother, we had went and looked at the same kind of guitars, and he got one that was very similar to this. This is the California series by Fender. Came out in around 93-ish, maybe. I've got all the stats. I'll read those later in an email. I mean, there's a long list of stats of this guitar because I contacted Fender, and they actually gave me all the details about it, okay? So he was looking at the same kind of guitar. Now, his was the exact same thing, except instead of this color, it was more of a, I want to call it like an amber, yellower color to it. It wasn't I don't think it was a sunburst. It was just a plain color, and it was kind of like a light orange amber kind of color. Headstocks, the same thing, except his, I want to say his might have been a cutaway, and I'm fairly certain that his had plugins because there was these two huge knobs on the top, and I'm pretty sure his was a plug-in. He can confirm that later if he ever sees this video, but he ended up getting rid of his for, I think it was a Morgan Monroe years later. And I ended up with that when I bought that one from him. And in some of my earlier videos, you can see that. Matter of fact, I just recently went back to all my videos that I could find with this guitar in it and typed in the tag and added the tag Fender Malibu. So if you go to my YouTube channel now, you can see just about all the videos that I have, maybe even the unlisted ones. I don't know. Those are like years ago of me playing this guitar. Now, some of those videos, please don't leave me hate mail and hate comments and everything. They were early in my YouTube career. You know, back then I had to be real quiet because, you know, the walls were thin and things like that. So you can't really hear the audio that well, but the gist of it's there. You can still hear some of the stuff. And there's also some festivals I competed in, different things like that you can see me playing this guitar in, okay? So that's how this guitar came to be. Now, this guitar has been with me through thick and thin, through years. Now, this was probably when I was, like I said, I was around 94, 95. I think it was in 96 or thereabouts we cut the album, The Heavenly Travelers. So it was probably around either that year or the year before that I got the guitar. So this has been in my possession since 90, let's just say, give or take, let's just say 95. So if I go to 2021 minus 1995, 26 years. 26 years. 26 years I've had this guitar, folks. That's amazing. Okay. Now, I will say that it is a cheap guitar. Okay. It is not solid wood. It's probably laminate, you know, all the way around. I'm pretty sure it is. But I'll read the stats and all that stuff later if I can remember. I'm trying my best to remember all this stuff. So this guitar, like I said, I've entered competitions with this. I cut the Wilder Mountain album #1, which was called Blue Shade of Green, after a song that I wrote for the band. And you might be able to still find that around. I don't even know if it's in print or if you can even find it anymore. But this is the guitar I did it with, and I was really proud of that. I think it was the second album I ever cut this guitar, an album with this guitar. So it was amazing that I could do that. So yeah, let's pick it up and get my reaction to it, because I haven't touched this thing, haven't laid hands on it in a long time, and we'll find out for sure, hopefully, how long it's been, because I try to always, when I change strings, leave a packet in the little pocket of the case that tells me the date they were changed. So if that's in there, that'll let me know the last time I've really laid hands on this guitar, okay? So, and I think what I'm going to do is, I'd like to do a series on this guitar, okay? Leave me a comment down below if you'd like to see me do a series on this guitar. I would actually love to do that. I've got some ideas about it. And this is one of the guitars I would probably leave in a down-tuned state, because I don't know, it just kind of opens up a different feeling. Those, especially that B string, the way it rings and resonates, it's just got that awesome sound to it. But I guess without further ado, let's get on into it, because I want you to see my reaction to it, what it feels like. You know, I'm really curious to see what kind of picks I used back then, because today my picks are totally different. Any comments yet? That is very nice. Kaylee says hi. Oh, that's what she said earlier. All right. So let's take a look at this guitar, take it out. And first of all, let's see what's in the case. Okay, so I'm really curious to see what's in the guitar case. All right, so we'll set the guitar aside. That neck feels so odd. I can already feel it. All right, so it should be fine. All right, first off, in the case, we have a bunch of songs. Wow, I forgot these were even in here. These are songs. I used to do this all the time, just leave songs in my guitar cases, just so I could go back over them. Here's Because of Who You Are. These are some contemporary Christian songs. Looks like I might have wrote down some chord progression here that I wanted to try. I need to look at these again. These I remember now. This is when I was with Wilder Mountain. We went to the Mandolin Players Church in Monterey, Tennessee, and they had asked us to come sing for them, and they wanted us to play in the choir with them. So that's what these sheets are about. And I really like the way they sounded, so I wanted to keep them and kind of go over these again. Lonely Tonight, that's one of the songs I wrote for Blue Shade of Green, Legend of Captain John. These are all songs that I wrote for the album, the first album, and put on some of the second album. This is the actual song service, okay? Back then, we were called Grassfault. This is the name I come up with. And I thought, instead of asphalt, we're bluegrass, Grassfault. That was catchy. It never really caught on, and they spelled it wrong. So we ended up becoming Wilder Mountain. That was our band name. Okay, so this is the I guess what you might call the program they had, which I'm not big on programs, but that's what they had. Monday, Sunday evening. I guess they had a revival that week, and we were scheduled to be there every night, I guess. So that's pretty cool. So we were actually guests there, helping out with them and singing with them. So that's what these are. This is the same thing, Because of Who You Are. And I think this is his original, the music director's original notes for the chords. So I took that and transposed that into, since it's an A flat, I transposed all the chords into a G shape because that way I could use my capo on the first fret. Same thing with this one. They're going to sing an F, so I most likely put on the 3rd fret D. Yeah, 3rd fret D chords so that I can have all these shapes. So I transposed all those. And that's what these were, okay? So, I'm going to put these back up. I'm really curious to see what that is. Usually if I write something down like that, that just means that, ooh, that isn't, I don't think that's me. I think that's somebody else's handwriting. So this must have to do with this. Must have to do with those notes. Now, this case looks very clean. I'm really surprised at this. Looks really clean. We have a strap here. This is my old strap. Look how old that is. I mean, that's a Diodario. I love these nylon straps more than leather straps because they move and they don't get stuck to you. So that's what that is the old strap I used for this guitar. Okay. In the pocket, we have, okay, here it is. Check this out. I'm going to put this in pen. March 25th, 2012. Okay, it is 2021. In 2022, that will have been 10 years. So this has been about 9 years since I've even touched this guitar. And that sounds probably about right because I want to say that I got my 2012. This was actually before, I think this was around the time that I got engaged to my wife, actually. 2012 is when we got married in June, and around March is when we got engaged. So this is probably around that area. I'm going to go over here and get a pen so that I can write down permanent ink. And I did this. I'm going to leave this in here too, because this is like the main packet. This is kind of like my time capsule to tell me how long it's been. As you can see, I've been an Elixir fan for years, okay? So I use Elixirs. That's an Elixir packet. So the strings that are on this guitar are very likely Elixirs. For a while, I was experimenting with Martin Darko and really cheap brands. So because when I had my Martin, I wanted to put the expensive ones on that one and leave this as kind of like a practice guitar, so not spend a whole lot of money on the strings for this. But these are most likely, which I've always used and still use today. That's proof I've used these for years, even before then. When I had the polywebs, I was starting to use those. But these are most likely phosphor bronze nano web, and these are 12. So these are 12 to 53. That's another thing about this guitar. The strings, if I put anything other than lights on these things, it is like playing a telephone cable. I mean, it's huge. It just really killed my fingers. And even today, I'm not even going to put anything but light strings on there. All right, let's see what else we have in here. We have a thumb pick, because back then I was really getting into Tommy and Emmanuel and really trying to get that thumb going. And it's, I don't know. As you can see in the thumbnail, I don't know if you can or not, but this thumb pick is actually hooked over where the nut is in that thumbnail, okay? So look for that. But that's the thumb pick I used, and I kept it in here in case I wanted to experiment. Now that I got a lower tuning, I kind of did that. Okay, so there's that. I've got the capo that I use, which is also on the end of the guitar in the thumbnail. It's a good Kaiser capo. That gold really goes well with now especially goes well with the tuning keys. The hardwire is gold. I kept the Allen wrench in here so that I could adjust the truss rod. I've got some wire pliers for any kind of hardware adjustments. This little wrench for hardware adjustments. I'm going to take this stuff out. Here's our old business cards. I actually designed these. This is my old business cards. Man, I haven't seen these in years. So these are all the same. I've got way back when. I want to hide my contact information. But basically, it's a guitar instruction. Oh, yeah, you can't see those. Okay, it's a guitar instruction manual, or not manual, business card. And in the background, you can see the watermark kind of the actual picture that's up here. And then on the other side, flip it over, the same thing. Yeah, but it's what for electric. So this is what I used to call my business wanna play guitar, because that was when I was getting into lessons and stuff. Made my own business cards. So I kept some of them for memories. I always kept one of these in my case. I've showed this off before. This is a just a simple nail file. And back in the day, I used to take my picks and file them down. Okay, so that that way they'd get the sharp point back. Okay, looks like I've got, what in the world? Plain steel bronze, the B and the A. So I may have had issues with those strings breaking. So that's what I've got in here. And these are really rusted. So these were just for extras, just in case. And nowadays, I haven't broke a string in years. So what I've done is always changed the string set. So you can see little rust spots on those. Those are super old, at least as old as how long I've had it in there. Now these are plain bronze, so these are 80-20. I don't like 80-20 bronze, but they're in there just in case. Is also the actual case key. And down here is where it locks, which I hardly ever lock my cases, but there it is. And that should be, nope, I feel something down here in this little crack. And I don't know what that is. Oh, batteries. Spare batteries for tuners, which these are probably dead by now. I mean, these have been in there for years. I may just leave these out and use those another time. I'm going to put these back in, everything back in. So now on to the guitar itself. And once again, I will be taking some kind of, I'll put a post-it note or something in there showing me what kind of strings I use. I'll be using some different strings than I've ever used today. So go ahead and put this case down, put it away. We'll get started changing these strings and talking more about this guitar. Okay. All right. Take a quick sip of my coffee here. See the comments. Where's everybody at, people? Come on, show up. I don't see anything in chat. Coffee. Nobody's in chat. I don't know what's going on. Everybody must be doing something else. Oh, love that. All right. Speaking of coffee, I meant to have my candle going on in the background, but I guess I won't fool with that. All right, so trying to think of what's going on now. All right, so first of all, let's see my reaction to this stuff, okay? Oh, and another thing, this eagle. Can you see that? Okay, pull that back so you can. Okay, so you should be able to see it now. This eagle here, this was our signature, okay? Me and the guys' signature. We had this on my guitar, JC's guitar that was like this except a different color, and Shane's bass, which at the time, I don't know if it was the white one. He used to have a white one. He used to have a natural finish one. I don't remember which one he was using. I think it was the white one. It was kind of like a faded cream color. It was beautiful bass guitar. But he played bass for us. Still plays bass today. And this was something my dad got, I want to say from Hobby Lobby, and he got every one of them they could find so that we could have these for our guitars. And the only thing that's really messed up with this is the little leg down here fell off. It come off one day. Other than that, it's been in pristine condition all these years, and I've left it like that. So this was our signature as a singing group. The eagle, you know, he that waiteth upon the Lord shall walk and not faint. He shall run and not be weary. Man up with eagles. You know, Isaiah 40:31, I think is what it is. He shall man up with wings as eagles. And that's what this represented. And so I've had one fret job on this guitar since I've had it. And that was down at Strings and Things. I think it's when I had that done. There's a few scuffs right here on the binding. You might be able to see a few other scuffs if the light's just right. Oh, by the way, listen to that. Okay. I have about 3 or 4 rattlesnake tails in here, rattlesnake rattles. Okay. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I was always heard as a kid, and I think Tony Rice did this too, but this is long before I knew about Tony Rice. I always heard that that's supposed to help enhance the sound of the guitar. So I said, hey, the more the merrier, and I stuffed everyone I could find in there. Whenever my dad would kill rattlesnake or something on their property or whatever years ago, or maybe find, you know, shed rattles in the woods, because he always goes in the woods hunting and stuff. He would hand them to me, and I would put them in my guitar. And I've also got business cards in here in case anybody ever thinks of stealing it. That's one of the ways I could prove that it's my guitar. So a little tip for you. All right, so just looking at this now, it's fairly really good condition. Beautiful side, back here. I'll get onto the specs of this in a little bit. Okay, look at that gorgeous pattern, that quilted pattern. Okay, these tuners, actually, there's a review that I did on these, and I think it says tuners review or something like that. If you look them up YouTube, you can once again you can see that if you type in Fender Malibu, you'll see mostly all the videos that I've made with this. I actually got these tuners off of eBay. I love these because it kind of matches my, you know, the sunburst pattern with this. And I don't know, this isn't to me tobacco. It may, and I don't want to say it's cherry, so it's, I don't know, just kind of like a brown sunburst of some kind, amber sunburst maybe. But I got these for like 34 bucks off of eBay from a guy named Earl Reinhall, and I went on eBay the other day to find him again because I had some of his contact information, but I couldn't find him anywhere. So you might be able to email him. If you look at that video of my review, it's got email information and stuff like that in the description and in the video. If you're looking for some good tuners, that dude knows how to make them. He has a bunch of spare, you know, new tuner parts scattered everywhere, and he just combines and makes different ones. I don't know if he still does it or not, but I'm glad I was able to get these while he was still doing it. Beautiful gold hardware. Once again, kind of really makes guitar pop. Here on the back, I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a mark on the back of the headstock that for years of me keeping my capo up there. That's what that is. It says up here, the feeling is legendary. Right there by that fender, there's some small writing. On the back, there's a stamp that says made in Korea. Okay. If I look inside here, model number is 907-02833. It says made in Korea, which I think I just said it was up here. And it says the model is Malibu. This is from the California series, like I said, from years ago. I can see in the back that there's definite wood grain. In the sides, there's wood grain. So the back and the sides are solid. However, I don't think the top is. Because most of the time you can look in the sound hole, and if the wood grain runs into the sound hole and doesn't just become a solid piece of wood without grain, if it runs into it, then it's a solid top. If it doesn't, then it's a laminate top. And I don't see any wood grain. Of course, there's some paint here. I could be wrong about it being laminate, but I'm pretty sure it is a laminate. But the paint runs in there, so I don't want to scrape it just to see what the wood grain is. And I can't really, the only other way I would be able to do this is get like a magnifying glass, put it in there, not magnifying, a mirror, put it in there and see what the grain looks like from the other side. but it's a beautiful guitar. Okay, so if I used to keep, and I still do this, some of these Dunlop little strap locks on here. I kept those on there so that I wouldn't have to worry about my guitar falling off, and they're on the back too. Okay. Looking at this now, feeling of it feels pretty good. The action is definitely pretty high because the strings are tuned low. If I'm going to leave this way, then I'll definitely have to take and adjust the truss rod. Now, I can see where some of the binding here has been chiseled off because they didn't really do a good job on the frets when they refretted this thing. It's really hacked to pieces up here. But I was really curious to see what kind of picks I was using back in the day. Okay, so let me see what kind of picks I've got here. First of all, I've always kept these pick guards or pick holders on my guitar. First of all, okay, makes sense. Back in the day, I used to use these Tortex. These are actually the purple. These are the 1.14 millimeters, but I always liked them in black. And I don't know why, but to me, they have a different sound in the black than they do the purple. They sound a lot different. So that was my main go-to pick back in the day, okay? And if I'm not mistaken, I used to play, I know I played D'Andrea Proplec picks. They really had a wonderful sound. I'm pretty sure one of those is in here, so let's see if it is. Yes, a D'Andrea Proplec guitar pick. I love these. These are really good guitar picks. The only thing about them is they have more of a warm, mellow sound to them. So they don't really cut through if you're playing solos and stuff, but they're great almost to make your guitar sound like it's made of mahogany or like a warmer wood, because it really has a really nice tone to it. And I use these triangle picks because I've always liked to be able to flip those over and get a different pick. Nowadays I use Dunlop Proplec. No, Dunlop Prime Tone picks. And I use the ones that have the grip on them because it's a lot easier to handle. Both of them sound real well, though, the smooth and the grip. Now, the next one is an Ultex 1 millimeter. I used to experiment with some of these. And it's kind of, it looks a little lopsided. I may have filed this down. I don't know. Maybe just the print was, I think the print wasn't exactly straight right on there. Okay, so there's Ultex. I used to keep about 4 or 5 picks because you never know when somebody needs to borrow one. And you can give them one to borrow. Now, here's the Proplec standard version. And I think it's made of some kind of resin. It's not like tortoise shell or anything like that. It just has the look of it. So that's the standard. And this is the triangle. Okay, quite a bit bigger, a lot more surface area. I tend to play with, I like the triangle surface area nowadays a lot better. But yeah, it has really good feel to it, really good tone. And I've just always liked them. And here's another brand new. I can tell it's brand new because it's got the powder still on it. Another brand new 1.14 millimeter Tortex. Okay. Years ago, I found out I used to use the 0.6 millimeter, the orange Tortex picks. And that was what I always used. And years ago, I found out that when you increase the size of your pick, it really brings out more of a woody tone and a really nice tone of your guitar. So I went to thicker picks. It took a while to get there, maybe a week or two to adjust to it, but it was totally worth it. I haven't looked back to a thin pick since. And a lot of people, the mistake they make is they stick with those thick picks or thin picks, and they don't get the tone they're looking for. So there's another Proplec standard, okay? So I'm just going to put these back in the order I had them in, and we're going to try some of these out, see what they sound like. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and put these side by side. Okay, so first of all, this is, I don't know if it's in tune or not. I can check real quick. I've got a tuner right here so that I'll be ready for changing the strings. So let's see here. Right on the money. It's a C. I'm even going to play a D string. We're tuning it low. I think it's a whole step low. These are 14.1 gear ratio. These feel so much better than my other ones did. I had those on so long that they were actually stripped. I mean, you couldn't, when I took it off, it basically fell apart. I think it was the B string that was like that. Well, listen to the timbre of that. Really, really good sound. I'm pretty sure going to leave this down tune like this. Okay, so you can hear that. These tuners still work amazingly good. Now, I've always, whoa, check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2. That was weird. Just had a hiccup in my mic. Check 1 2. Yeah, okay. So I've always had, I've always tuned pretty much for years. I've tuned from the D string down and then back to the E string, back to the D because of the tension. If you start with the lower strings, they're thicker, so they're going to have more tension. By the time you get to the bottom, the tension is going to be uneven. So I've always started from D string down and then worked my way back to the E, back down to the D. Beautiful sound. I love the fact that I play a B and it's not out of tune. I think I actually had them, oh no, I thought I had a compensated saddle for that, but I don't guess I did. I'm curious, I don't know if I've got a, when I take the strings, I've got to be careful because a lot of times I'll put little shims on the bottom here so that if there's any buzz or anything, that kind of lifts the saddle up. Oh, I love the sound. That's the Tortex Dunlop. Here's the Ultex. A little bit bright for me, and the ProPlec is kind of like the metal sound. I'm not used to this either because the string spacing from the nut is very tiny. I forgot about that. My Breedlove is actually wider, so I've got all this room to move my fingers, and that's another reason why my pick's not really hitting the strings right, is because the strings are spaced wider on my Breedlove. I'll have to say, there it goes again. I'm clipping. I think what's happening. Check 1 2. Let me go back to my. Go back to my meters here. Make sure that I'm not having any issues with that. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Oh my goodness, guys! I don't know what happened, but I had some problems here with that. Ooh, it keeps wanting to go back. Something's going on with my audio interface, so I've got some big time clipping going on. I don't know why. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Is it clipping in here? Oh, why? Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Is it clipping in here? That doesn't sound like it is, so we're just gonna leave it like it is. Hopefully it'll be all right. All right, let's go back here. Okay. So, any other chat questions? Marty, I'm enjoying your show. 71-year-old from Florida. Thanks so much for joining, Marty. Appreciate you on here, buddy. So, yeah, I think you guys can see. I really like the ProPlex sound on this. It really sounds good. Man, I can tell these strings are definitely old. Another way of seeing that is a lot of times when the strings get old, you can do this and they'll whistle. Can't really hear it now, but especially the bottom two will whistle. And I'm pretty sure these are elixirs because when I slid it, they felt like they were coated. So these are the elixirs. You can't really see this, but there are divots in the fretboard here where I've played so many, in those areas for so many years. There's divots in the fretboard. So the only thing I would probably change on this is probably the action. Probably the action. I'll probably take and adjust that truss rod so that the neck isn't quite as dipping, because I can tell just by doing this that I've got a lot of room there. Now that the strings are low, and I'm going to leave them low, pretty sure, I'm going to take and adjust that truss rod and tighten that truss rod just a little bit, get that neck a little closer to those frets, and we should be good to go. So real quick, before I start changing the strings, let's talk about the specs, okay? What this guitar is made of, what it looks like, and all that. So let's see. That's where I need to go, I think. Is it there? It's there. How you guys enjoying this so far? Anybody that is in the chat right now or watching later? Hopefully, man, I can't believe that's doing that. Check 1 2. I don't know why it's shooting up every time. Check 1 2. I don't know why it's shooting up every time. Don't know. Anyway, all right. Let me go to the actual email that I got from the guy. Actually, it is. But like I said, I contacted Fender and asked them and gave them the serial number, gave them the model number and all that stuff, and asked them about the specs behind it. And I titled it "Dating My Guitar." So I gave them the model number. Oh yeah, and there's also an inside neck joint number that I forgot about. So that was there as well. So, okay, here's the information we have on that guitar. The guy's name was Jeff Krause, and he may still be there. I don't know. But we have the model name. It's a Malibu. Obviously, it's a Fender Malibu. Pull this back again. Actually, let me put these other picks in here since I'm not going to be using them. I'll be using that Deander ProPlex on this one. Okay. It's a Malibu. They gave me the model number, which I told you about earlier. The series is the California series. It was made in Japan/Korea. This one's in Korea. It's a dreadnought, obviously. It doesn't have the body depth. The top, I thought, was a maple. But they say that this is a sycamore, and later versions of this guitar was spruce. So this is actually sycamore top, which is I find interesting. I don't know of any other guitar that I've heard that has a sycamore top. But to me, I mean, this thing sounds pretty good. I mean, it's been in the case for 9 years, you know, so hey. The neck is mahogany. Back and sides is also sycamore. So all this that you're seeing here, all that is sycamore. Now, that leads me to believe that since I can see the inside grain of this, I mean, you can look clearly and see the inside of this. has a certain grain to it. It's not fake wood. So that leads me to believe the top, it might actually be solid sycamore. And if that's the case, then what that means is that this guitar can, over time, actually sound better and open up. Okay, so that's really, really handy. Hopefully that's solid top. The fingerboard is rosewood. Scale length is 25.3 inches or 643 millimeters. Number of frets, it has 20. So here's 17, 18, 19, 20. I love how they've put the hole in the fretboard too. Isn't that awesome? I love the way that looks. The bridge is rosewood. The machine heads were pearl tip chrome die cast. I don't know if they mean mother of pearl, because I don't remember ever seeing any kind of mother of pearl on there. But these are not, like I showed you, these are not the factory tuning keys. They also have two string trees here that I noticed, and I don't think, yeah, these tuners aren't what you would call 6 in line, where they're staggered. So I still needed the string trees after that. I love the fact that guitar, the B string, stays in tune all the way up the neck. That just blows my mind. I can't even get my breedlove to do that half the time. That B string, I'm going to have to really get looked at. Let's see what else. Doesn't have the width at the nut. I could probably find that out real quick. The width at the nut. How long, how wide is the nut? It looks like it is, that's millimeters. It can't be, oh, the small ones are millimeters. It is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 inches and like 4/8. 4, 6, what is it? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. That's got to be millimeters. Yeah, on the bottom it's millimeters. So it's, I don't know, 4 and 1, 2, 3 little small hash marks, millimeters long. And if I'm going by inches, it is 1, and let's see, that's 8ths. It is 1 1/2, just under 1 3/4. There's like one tick mark under the 3/4 mark. So that's how big the width is, whatever. Just a little over 1 3/4 inch, something like that. Maybe a little under that. Width at the heel, don't know. I'm guessing that's this down here. No electronics. The finish is poly. Colors, it just says sunburst. No strings information. Unique features, a dot inlay. I always thought this was very interesting. One of the few guitars that I know of that has 2 for a 5 and 2 for a 12. I don't know why they've done that. You got 2 dots here on the, no, that's the 7th fret. So 3, 5, 7. 2 on the 7th fret and 2 on the 12th fret. I don't know why they would do that. If you know why, leave a comment below. Let me know why they would choose to do that, because I'm not sure. And I can already see on the other side where it's kind of been hacked a little bit too for that fret change job. It looked terrible. Tortoiseshell pick guard, Strat style headstock. The MSRP for the US was $325 to $410. So this may have been more along the $329 range. But I know for a fact that my electric guitar, my Strat, was $299. I was really amazed at that later on in the years, especially that it went up in price. Comments. Acoustic guitars imported from Japan about 1982 to 1985, and then imported from Korea about 1985 to 1992. It was introduced in 83. It was discontinued in 92. Okay, so this actually, when I got it in 94, 95, doesn't make sense that it's brand new. I mean, I got it brand new. It was not used. So either the guy just couldn't sell them, nobody had any interest in acoustic guitar looking like an electric guitar. This might have been too modern for some people, or what. I don't know how in the world he got a hold of a new one 3 or 4 years after they'd been discontinued. Don't know. Maybe they had a lot more on the shelves than they could sell, and he ordered one. They happened to have some. But that's the spec. So this is all sycamore, okay? And then rosewood, probably East Indian, probably some cheap rosewood, and then mahogany neck, which, like I said, I don't even know if you can see this. Probably can't. There's really no way to really look at it besides feeling it. But this I've always called a V-neck because it almost has like a point where it converges, it goes round, and then all of a sudden it gets a little bit pointier here in the middle. And I've always liked the feel of that. When I was playing that a while ago, I don't know, let's play a little bit more and find out. My hands have really outgrown this, but the cool thing is, I mean, it's a distinct point at the back of this thing. And the cool thing is I can lay my finger on this, my thumb, and it kind of like rests on that point just a little bit. So that it doesn't curve all the way around. It gives it a nice little stable point there. And I don't really feel the neck is so thin, not only width-wise, depth-wise, but width-wise. I mean, it's really thin. I can't believe how thin it is. It's so thin that when I'm doing this D, that my palm's not really even touching hardly any of the bottom of this, or even wrapping around. Now, when I go around like this, for that D with an F sharp in the bass, I'm definitely touching that. And it's weird feeling that point in the back of that neck, but it's still pretty comfortable. Now, it feels like my hands have outgrown this neck because it's so small, but that's just because I'm used to the nut and the neck being wider. This is still kind of a tiny neck. Okay, so that's the information on that. Make sure I'm still alive here. Everything's still going good. Okay, good deal. All right, so this is the point where I start changing the strings on this thing. And what I'd like to do is maybe just leave this hanging and start maybe messing around with it. I'm going to have to change my Martin strings too before too long, but I could probably start using this on some projects, you know. If we can't slide on that. All right, now one thing that I may regret doing is these are not extra strings I'm putting on here. Okay, these are strings that, and I don't even know if these still are around or not. I'm gonna see if they are. I actually got these from a place called Guitar Strings for Life, I think. Guitar Strings for Life, and they're based in Kaysville, Utah. So if I go over here to Guitar Strings for Life, the URL is guitarstringsforlife.com. We have closed our doors, but the website is still here for the time being. You can still access the lessons, webs, apps, and resources for now. Okay, so I used to be able to order these online, guitar strings. All you have to do is pay shipping. So I thought that was a cool deal. So I ordered like 4 envelopes, 2 acoustic and 2 electric, and never opened these. I can tell they're individually packaged. Inside they have probably in that little plastic casing, so they should still be good. The stamp on the time date on the stamp is October 14th, 2017. That's my brother's birthday on my mom's side. 2017. So these are now 4 years old. And actually, yeah, they've been sitting in my my strings little box there for that long. So we're going to take these out. This says Vincent Guitar Strings. So I'm guessing that's the brand that it is. Okay. So if I Guitar Strings for Life, the lessons and everything are still there, but they're not available to buy anymore. So Vincent Guitar Strings. Let's see what that's all about. Vincent chords, Vincent, all this other stuff, any Vincent stage. It just goes to like Amazon and juststrings.com. I remember Vincent Strings used to be a big deal. Okay, so there's that. So let's open these bad boys up and see what we got. Now I'm going to take and give this guitar a good little overhaul because I haven't done anything to it for a while. So I'm just going to polish it up, put some fret stuff on it like I would normally do. I usually do that about every 2 or 3 string changes, depending on how often I play. So this guitar may actually be making a comeback for me. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and unwind the strings because that's what needs to be done. And with acoustic guitars, for the most part, I've always unwound them all at once. I've never found where it's hurt my guitar or anything like that, so I've always done that. Especially since these strings are so lowly tuned, there's not a lot of pressure just now that it was released. I love the fact that I've got these new tuners on here. I was probably so frustrated if these were still my old tuners because I would not even want to deal with this guitar. So much easier to change strings. Just get you a cordless screwdriver and use one of these Planet Wave string winders. So easy. You change a lot of strings, you get, got a lot of guitars like I do. It really comes in handy. It's totally worth it. It's only like, I don't know, $6 if that. So you've seen me change strings before, so it's not that big of a deal. I thought I had another tool over here, but I guess I do. I'm just going to try to be easy with these bridge pins here. Forgot how tight these things used to be. Usually, I had a, now that I'm thinking about this, I remember these are always so tough to take out. And I see notches on here where I took screwdrivers to them before. So, hopefully I won't do any damage or anything. I'm going to try and do this. Man, those are in there good. I really need like another kind of tool to get that out. Sometimes I would go in here and just like use my hand and push up on, but I can't really do that. My hand's too big now. Let's see. I'll tell you what I'll do. Screwdrivers to the rescue. Maybe not. I've actually seen some man, that's good. Seen some new bridge pins that I wanted to try out. Golly. I may have to go get my other pair of. It'd be nice if I had a little tuning peg remover thing in this multi-tool by Ibanez, but I don't think they make anything like that. I don't remember what I was saying now. There we go. Use some scissors to kind of wedge that out. There we go. Good night. These are old. Oh yeah, I was found some new bridge pins that I'd like to try out. They're by a company called Donner, which I've been testing their products for a little while, and they've got some pretty good products. And they're actually cattle bone, and they got purloin on the top. I thought about getting some of them from my Breedlove, but I may actually get some for this too. That might actually look good on this guitar. See, I like that because I'm actually cutting those bridge pins. But I really don't have another way to get this out. These were always hard. I'm going to have to invest in one of them Planet Waves bridge pin remover things, tools they've got. don't see anything else in here that I could use. Just have to keep working with it, I guess. Yeah. All right. Any comment? Good. Not. Those are terrible. Probably can't see those, but they look awful. Any comments or anything like that you guys might have? Questions? I may have to actually put some of the tuning stability stuff in this. I think what's happened maybe is that the wood probably swollen and swollen over these things, so that they're like that. Boy, this guitar is definitely old. Okay, now we just take the strings off all the way. And what I do is I've been saving these to recycle them. I think it's D'Addario has a string recycling program, but you have to get like 2 pounds of strings before you can claim the points. So I've been building up strings like crazy to send them in sometimes. And this is the part I always dread, is changing and getting the B and the E string out, because they will bite you. They will definitely sass talk you and bite you back for disturbing their peace. Okay, so just take those, wind those back up. And like I said, I'll be using, once again, light gauge strings, because medium gauge do not work with this guitar. I mean, there's just no way. It might work now that I'm doing the lower tuning, but I ain't gonna risk it. These are some old strings. Old strings. Years and years old. So now what we do is I go ahead and I feel around to make sure that there's no looseness in these tuning keys, which I don't feel anything. Maybe in the A just a little bit, but it should be fine. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and line them up so that they're actually coming straight to where the nut is. Makes for easier string changes that way. Just kind of line them up where they would come. In these cases, I have to line them up with a string tree. About like that. Is there anything under this saddle? I'm very curious. Actually, there is something inside it. So it may have been. Oh boy, things are good. Okay, that might actually be the glue that's in there, but I think I see something broke off at the beginning of this. So there may have been something there to keep it straight. If it has some kind of sag or anything like that. Now all I do is I take and go ahead and start cleaning this up with my little pads here. Polish it down. It's the fretboard, body gloss. I don't need to worry about any body gloss. I don't know which one of these I used for polishing the guitar. So yeah, this guitar, like I said, actually I did the Wilder Mountain first CD on, and I wrote quite a few songs on this guitar actually over the years. A lot of my songs that I've written came from this guitar because that's when I had it. I mean, songs, my first songs, the Promise of the Master, was written on this guitar outside. I would get it outside on the porch swing, and I would get out there. Back then I owned a Parrot, and she loved to get out there and just get on the porch swing with me, and just her eyes would just get dilated and wide and excited. And we would get out there together and just jam out, write songs. I've got I need to go back and look at a lot of my old songs and see if I've even put any of those on YouTube, because some of those are years old. And I think I know that I haven't put any of those on YouTube since I first wrote them. I was too concerned with putting on videos about guitar lessons back then instead of actual performing. And right now I'm trying to get to where I can perform some more songs. So I'm actually go back and look at some of the songs that I've written, see if I put them up on YouTube, and maybe even go back and redo them. Because back then the quality wasn't as good as what it is today. And that reminds me, the reason I've chosen to do this stream just a little bit different today, because StreamYard is great. I've loved StreamYard, but I noticed the last live stream that I had with StreamYard, it limits you to 1080p or not 720p. And when I was looking at the screenshots where I was sharing my screen, you need at least 1080p to be able to make that stuff out. So what I may do is use StreamYard for just things like this, where I don't share my screen, and then use YouTube itself when I do share my screen. I don't know. Right now, I like this because it's actually in 1080p. If I was on StreamYard, it would not be. So this is one of the reasons I wanted to do just straight into YouTube with this. So far, it's a pretty good experience. I don't know if there's a way to share your screen or not. There should be. There used to be a way to share your screen here on YouTube, but I don't know if you can now. Got to manage, I got a live, I got a camera. Used to be able to share your screen, so I don't know what you would do now, how it works now. But yeah. So continue polishing here. But okay. I've been on here for just a little over an hour. After this, probably wrap it up. Probably see what it sounds like. And once again, later on, whoever may be watching this later, let me know what you think. If you'd like to see some more videos with this, I've got an idea for a series I want to do with it. So if nothing else, we can do that. Let me get the back of this neck here. Good and polished down. This neck always had a good feel. Even though it has a finish on it, it's always had a good feel because maybe that little point on the back of the neck keeps it from sticking to your hand. I mean, that makes sense to me. You know, that could be a thing. This guitar brings back so many good memories. Days gone by, man. And I'm talking about gone by. That's when I was a teenager. Back when I was like 15, I think. That would be about right. 20. What did I say? 26 years I've had this guitar. I've had it just about as long as I've been playing. I've been playing a little bit longer than that, 27, 28 years. But because I had one or two more guitars before this one. They never really stuck. This one stuck. This is with me when I first started getting interested in bluegrass, 2008. That was when I was with Wilder Mountain Steel, and I was using this guitar. And this is a guitar I learned a lot of bluegrass stuff on. Later on, I got my Martin because I ended up in an accident. Big 18-wheeler. My brother probably remembers this if he's watching. 18-wheeler, hit my car not long, maybe a week or two after I'd bought it. And really, I was more angry than I was scared. And ended up having to go, because I couldn't find the guy, ended up having to go to where he worked at and demanding that they pay for my car or else. And they gave me $3,000 check, and I went up to Guitar Center and bought my Martin with it. And because I didn't really mind the cosmetic damage, that's all it was. And if it's functional, I would have to gone back and fix that. But since it wasn't, I was going to get me a Martin, and I did. All right, fretboard cleaner and prep, and then the fretboard deep conditioner. And I'm using the System 65 from Dunlop. I've been using that for a long time. It lasts forever. So, and I'm going to try to use a different cloth. I'm trying to find the one that's dirtiest. I think it's this one. Yeah, see how dirty that is? I'll use that for treating the fretboard with. Just take that. And basically this is either this or the other thing I'm going to use on it is lemon oil. Pretty much it's all it is. I've got a big old thing of Formby's lemon oil that I've used for years. And it never expired. I mean, I've had that thing as long as I've had this guitar, probably. Almost. And but now that I've got the Dunlop kit and I have to bring it out, there's no sense in bringing out the lemon oil either at the same time. You might actually be able to see these divots in here in this fretboard. Look at the first, I don't know, probably the first 6 frets. See if I can get that just enough at an angle where you can see those huge chunks. where I've pressed down on the fretboard so long over the 10 years or so when I had it before I changed guitars, and you can see where I've really put this guitar through its paces. Okay, wipe that down. Oh, I always put that on my saddle too. Not saddle, my bridge, because it's made of the same wood, so I just treat it as well, like I would my fretboard. I'm really curious to see what these strings are going to look like, because they are, like I said, 4 years old now, and they've been in the packaging since I first got them. I don't use the fretboard conditioner on there, just the I'm not satisfied with that. Let me get a little bit of that on the corner. See if I can get that out there. There's a little dust. This bottom here, I'm trying to get out. There we go. Now, I don't put the fretboard conditioner on there because my hands don't really touch it, but they do touch this, so it's important to keep that in there. This is just a pad. This is what the lemon oil is. So basically, kind of press on it until it starts coming out. And don't squeeze it. You don't squeeze it. You just press on it a little bit, and it starts coming out, and you can rub it on the frets. That conditions them. No, not the frets, but between the frets. And that conditions them and conditions that wood, most importantly. You always want to put, if it's a rosewood fretboard, you always want to put lemon oil on it. With maple fretboards, you don't have to really treat them that much. But with rosewood, you want to treat them because the wood tends to crack, and you want to make sure that you take care of it. Okay, so that's probably good enough. Now I'm going to take a little towel and wipe that in real good. A little rag. Kind of polish that in there. Rub that in there good. The frets themselves look okay. I can see where I've made some little divots again in the actual wire, the first few frets here. But they're still fairly new. I'd say probably after I got this fretboard job done, it was, I don't know, maybe 5 years after that, if that I put this guitar away and started using my Martin. So they still look okay to me. No danger of having to get another fret job done or anything like that anytime soon. And now lastly, what I do is use my special Reed Martinez Graphitol guitar lube. I put this in any point the string makes contact. So basically that means I've got a little floss pick, and I take that and I scoop. So you can squeeze it out, but I usually don't do that. It gets a little messy. So I just take and put just a dab on there, and then I'll put that, let's just say, in between the string holes here where they make contact with the string, where the string comes up through the bridge. Put that in there. I can take the pick end and kind of, on the nut especially, I can kind of floss that in on the pick end. But I'll take and do this usually with all the guitars that I have that are acoustic anyway, and maybe even some electric. And like I said, I may actually put some of this on the actual bridge pins because, man, them things were stuck in there good. But I may end up getting those Donner bridge pins. I know I'm wanting to get them for my reload. I may actually get some for this too because these are old. I'm telling you, man, I'm surprised these still hold up. These are plastic, I think. They're not even bone. And usually I try to put a little bit too on the saddle. So where the string makes contact on the saddle, just a little dab on there. Just to wet that saddle a little bit. Now we're in the string changing portion of this. I hope I'm covering everything I wanted to on this guitar. I've already went over the specs. I've covered what this guitar's been through, when I first got it, how I got it, the story behind that. I wasn't done because I need to put that on the nut as well. A bunch of different things like that. So I typically put that in between. Now, I can see where I put, if you don't have anything like this, it's basically graphite, so you can take a pencil and just rub the lead in there. But since I've got this out anyway, I'll just use it. And I just put in there because it helps the string stay lubricated and therefore Keep it from breaking and keep it from getting out of tune. And these bottom two is where this floss comes in handy because the pick itself, the floss pick, is too thick to get in between those. Okay, once that's done, just wipe that off. Put that back together. And it's good to go. Now we actually begin the process putting the strings on. I don't know. I think I'll just leave these bridge pins like they are. Anything in the chat? Okay, good. One more person has showed up. All right, Alex, I like that trick with the floss tool. I always make a mess with it. Yeah, dude. I discovered that a while back, and I've used it ever since. I just use the same floss pick. Wow, this picture looks so much better now that I'm using my I'm using YouTube for the 1080p. It looks a lot better. I may just have to start doing that, even though it doesn't have as much control. I'm gonna have to look up how to share your screen though, because I don't see it on here. I don't see any way of sharing your screen. This is just so weird. Huh. I used to have all those controls, but now I don't see anything. The control center's totally got a little different too. I'm live and I can't do anything, so maybe I'm just missing something. I don't know. There's a little arrow here. I'm guessing that's for sharing the link. Yeah, sharing the link with people, putting on socials and stuff like that. All right, Alex, thanks for joining us, buddy. Great value memes. I'm here as well. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I've got people watching. So now we're putting these strings on. Like I said earlier, I originally got these strings from a company called Guitar Strings for Life. And now their website is still up, but they only have lessons and stuff like that over the years. They don't give their guitar strings out anymore. I guess that's one of the reasons why they don't really exist anymore. It says Vincent Strings. Like I said, back in the day, back in 2017, apparently, I got these and haven't opened them yet. And so these have always been spares for me in case I wanted to put them on a kind of like a guitar that I don't use a whole lot. I put elixirs on the ones that I use a lot, so that because they're more important to me. So let me just go ahead and open these up. I've got 2 packs for acoustic and then 2 packs for electric. Now I'm very curious though, once these run out, because I'm probably just going to use this exclusively for this guitar. Once these run out, and if these are so terrible, I have to change these within like, I don't know, a month, even less than that. I'm going to have to figure out which string I want to get and use permanently on this guitar. Probably won't be elixirs because I don't take it out anywhere. And to be honest with you, the sound quality isn't nowhere near my Breedlove or my Martin, to be as a matter of fact. But I don't know. Maybe you guys got some string suggestion. I've reviewed so many strings, it's just not even funny. Maybe for like a little guitar like this, I can find something else. Now I'm kind of disappointed. I didn't know this. These are regular bronze strings. That makes me sad. I prefer phosphor bronze. I'm a phosphor bronze guy, but these are 80-20 bronze. Sad. Very sad. Don't like that. But that's what I've got, so that's what they're going to go on. All right, so they come in these little packets. Yeah, it's cheap to me. There used to be a place, I'm really curious about this. There used to be a place called Web Strings. Oops, wrong one. And it used to have like free guitar strings as well. Web Strings, the highest quality in the back. My goodness, is that place still here? It is. That says a lot if they're still around. When I was a kid, they had these. It's called Web Strings, delivering the world's greatest string deal since 1997. Thousands of working pros think so. They're the best guitar strings on the planet. I've used them before. Seems like I didn't care for them that much when I first got them. But if I go to acoustic guitar strings, phosphor bronze 6 strings, how much are they? $369 per set. Holy cow. And that's if, okay, here's the deal. Enter quantity 1. And I would be getting the 12 to 53 light. Oh, there's a bluegrass. 12 to 56. I couldn't even use 12 to 56 on this. I'm telling you, it is like playing with a telephone cable wire. That's how bad it is. Apparently, it's free shipping in the USA when you spend $80. Each set is okay. Good. When you buy 1 to 11 sets, it's $3.69 per set. That is awesome. I'm gonna have to try those out. I might do a review on those. I don't think I've ever done any web string reviews on my channel. I do not see a video on there, so we will try those out. That'll probably happen next time. Let me set that to pop up in about another month and go from there. That is pretty cool. All right, so let's put these things on. Let me find my order here. I need, let's see, G, D, E, B, G, D, A, E. Okay. Web strings is probably going to be trying next. I mean, after so many years, they probably sound pretty good. So I have scissors. Let's go ahead and cut this open. These are in packaging. So even if they're 4 years old, they still actually sound pretty good. That would be cool if they did. I'm really curious to see how long these last because 80/20 bronze, in my experience, don't last long before the tone dies. To me, they're more warmer sound than they claim. A lot of people claim, even string manufacturers claim they're a brighter tone than phosphor bronze. I disagree. I don't see that at all. But to each his own, I guess. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and load all of these and then put them in there. Since I don't have any paper to write on, I'll just use a Post-it note, I guess, to write down when I change these strings. I have to say, I love the fact that this is actually finally a good quality picture. 1080p, love it. So I'm going to write down that these were changed. Now here's my rule of thumb on this. If it's, let's just say 5, 6 o'clock and I'm changing my strings, I always count it as the next day because I'm not going to play the strings that evening pretty much. But if it's like it is now, it's almost 3 o'clock, afternoonish, you know, I'm going to label it as today. So today is, let's see, this is, you know what I may do? What I will do, I'm going to go ahead and take this envelope and we're going to do this. I'm going to cut the envelope out. Can I write on the back? No, I'm going to put this in the case, but I don't think I can write on the, can I write on this? Today's the 20, I want to say 28. 28. 128.21. Okay. And that'll go in the guitar case. And I can save my Post-it. All right, second string. Any other comments, questions? Nothing. Okay. We're just going to go ahead and keep stringing this bad boy. And after this is over with, we'll play them, see what it sounds like. And I've got to remember to only tune it up to a full step down. Okay, so that means the E is now going to be a D. And go from there. I'm not exactly sure, just off the top of my head, what the other pitches will be. Okay. I usually just take and bend right at that ball. So because they're going to bend up anyway, right? Might as well just pre-bend it without any strain happening to the string itself. And as I'm pushing, I'm tugging so that that wrap end comes to the top. And good. They have a little rip thing here, so I don't have to worry about using my scissors. Now we get into the actual wound strings. And what I'll probably do, since these don't have any coatings, I don't think the web string sells coated strings. That would be awesome if they did. We'll find out later, I guess. I'll probably start using this stuff or equivalent to it. Actually, I have some they come from the System 65 Dunlop. They have their own little fret, string cleaner stuff, but I keep it in my my Breedlove guitar case. So I'll probably just start using this, the Tone Finger Ease. Love this stuff. If you're recording guitars, get this. It's only like $6 and it lasts forever. It's got a nice citrusy smell. It is flammable though, so be careful. What it does is allows the streak to be minimized. When you're recording guitars and you start shifting back and forth, your guitar strings tend to squeak real bad. That really reduces it, and it really helps a lot. I sprayed some of that on my bass yesterday while I was tracking a new song, and I was really pleased with the results. I noticed Marco Sfogli, one of my favorite guitarists, started using or had been using it, and I started playing as well and realized that I could use it to help reduce the string squeaking. And because it's so aggravating to go in there while you're mixing and have to deal with all these little tweaks because of the string squeaks, having to reduce noise and stuff like that, and that virtually eliminates any of those hassles. Plus, it just cleans your strings. It actually puts the essential oils on your fretboard so that you don't have to always, in between string changes, do this. So you just take it, spray it on, and I usually spray it up to the neck because I don't want to get on pickups or anything like that, or the body. I'll just put my cloth here, spray it up and down about 2 times, let it sit for a minute or so, come back, wiping all the strings with my hand, and then take a cloth and wipe it off, and you're good to go. Finger ease. Good stuff. Surprised Dad hasn't showed up. If he has, he hasn't said anything. This will be the first time I've used 80/20 strings in years. I mean, I switched to these. I switched to phosphor bronze probably back in the late 90s. Back when Polyweb went to NanoWeb, I think that's when I started experimenting with phosphor bronze. Because Polyweb was a beast back in those days. Basically, your whole string was white because it was so gunky, and they really enhanced their formula. I haven't tried clear span or whatever it's called. I haven't tried their. I think Martin uses them. Clear strings. I don't know what they're called. I haven't tried their coating yet, but it would be hard to beat Elixir because nobody does what Elixir does. Nobody coats the entire winding. What they'll do is they'll coat the winding itself, but then they'll wrap it around. Whereas Elixir, after it's wound, coats the whole string, and that to me it'll last a lot better, because even if you have coating on the winding and then wrap that around the string, your finger will still get in between the windings. But with this, if it's in a sleeve of its own, the whole winding is, then that's less likely to happen. So Elixir's got it down. They've had it down for years. All right, now let's put these bad boys on. I'm going to start with, I usually start with the E string. So we're going to start with that. I've got to remember to put these under the string trees. Okay, now what I do, I've done so many string change videos, it's not even funny. So I always try to explain what I'm doing anyway. So I'll just take it and put it to the fullest extent to where it goes, and then I'll take and pull the slack back. Usually I'm going all the way to the next pin. Can you see where I'm at? I usually always go to the next post, a length of the next post, and then pull back. Or if it's the end, I'll go the length of the headstock, and then it's tight, and I will pull it back, and that gives me enough slack. And I'll take and push the winding inward. If the tuner's on this side, I bend the string towards that direction. If they're on the other side, I bend it towards me. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll wrap this around the actual string. Now, which way? I think it's going to be this way, though. Hold on a sec. I think it's going to be that way. It's going to be around and that. Yeah. Okay. Around the top, and then begin restringing, all the while pushing down on this to go down. And I think Earl, the guy that gave me these tuners, was the one that described to me how to do this. Basically, when you're tuning your strings, you let the first winding go over the top. And then as it comes back around, you go on the bottom with the rest of them. And that creates almost like a lock. It's almost like its own tuner, locking tuner. If you do that, you lock the string to it. All right, next string. This makes the whole day easier than doing them one at a time. You just put them all in there, and then you're good to go. Okay, once again, all the way. I'm going to go to the next post, maybe a little over since these are pretty close together. I've got it tight, and then I pull back, and then I take and pinch the string that way. Wrap it around the top so I don't have to have that extra winding when I'm winding. And the rest of these, all I have to do is go under. Okay, got my B string. Looks like it's sitting in there good. And there we go. Make sure it's in the same channel it used to be in. Next string. I'll be looking at the comments here in a little bit. We'll see if anybody else has said anything. Any questions or anything like that. What do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer phosphor bronze strings? Or do you prefer 80-20 bronze? I'm very curious about that. And why? Leave me a comment. Why do you prefer the ones that you like? One of the big things right now is Tony Rice's retro strings. They used to be called mono strings. I did a review on those on my channel years ago. I didn't really care for them myself. I mean, it sounded good at first, like every string does, obviously. But after a while, they just didn't sound right. So I've always liked phosphor bronze since I switched to them. To me, they have more of a bluegrassy, snappy sound, a brighter sound. They keep their tone a lot bigger, a lot longer than 80-20 does, in my opinion. 80-20 goes dead in like a week if you're lucky. This is going to be hard to get used to strings that aren't coated either, because, man, I am a big fan of coated strings. Tone snobs everywhere pretty much swear by uncoated strings. But I'm telling you, once you try elixirs, it's hard to go back to anything else. Now, I'm not a fan. I won't say I've never really tried elixirs, maybe one time on my electric guitars, but I didn't like them on my electrics. Now, this is once again way back in the polyweb days, so it may have something to do with that. Nowadays, it might not be as bad because they got nano web. But I've always opted for Ernie balls, Fender bullets. Dunlop makes good strings. Diodero makes good strings for electric. Electric, pretty much for me, is I can usually take whatever, except I've never really liked. Now, the GHS Acoustic, the Infinity Bronze, I think is what it's called, terrible, horrible. But their electrics might not be as bad. I haven't tried those in years, so I don't know. Can't really speak to that. And the last string to go in is the E. Really curious to see how this is going to feel with uncoated strings and with new strings. And I think I'm going to go ahead and give them a good spray down with this finger ease. I'll give you a demonstration of how that works, and I'll use it. Now for this last winding, I can't go around the top. It's just too thick of a string. So what I'm going to do is just start winding and then allow the wind to go around the top instead of pre-doing that. So I'm going around the top, then I immediately push down and start going underneath. And at that point, I can take and bend this string out of my way. Okay. Now we have all the strings are spaced evenly. We have new strings on this guitar. Okay. I'll worry about the truss rod here a little bit. I'll tighten it up a little bit later. But for now, let's take a look at the chat. Great value means. I'm a beginner, but I have 80-20 bronze on my guitar, but I'm thinking about changing them to phosphor bronze. Great value means I would definitely highly recommend you do that. If nothing else, for the sense of seeing what they sound like. For me, I was used to 80-20s for years. I didn't even know about phosphor bronze. I just bought guitar strings when I needed them. Didn't really know the difference. And then I thought, well, what are these? And I tried them out. And I'm telling you, to me, for my sound, they sound a lot better. They sound a lot more snappy. They're a lot more responsive. The tone lasts a lot longer. If you're looking for that bluegrass snap, go with phosphor bronze. If you're looking for more of a finger style sound, I would say go with 80-20 because the tone mellows out really highly. I mean, it mellows out big time quick, usually within a week. I'm kind of dreading to see what this is going to sound like. to be honest with you, because I am not a fan of 80-20 bronze. So now I get my tuner and I start tuning this bad boy up. And once again, I got to go a certain area. So this D needs to be a B, C. It needs to be a C. So I'm going to start once again like I do with the D string, but now I'm tuning to C. And usually I'll use this the first go around. That's C. Now this needs to be F, I do believe. 2 steps lower, a whole step lower than G, so that's an F. Okay, and what I do is I'll go to the next one and I'll go back to the previous one because I know it's definitely stretched since then. These tuning keys are definitely, they feel weird because I'm used to my Waverly kind of tuners for the Breedlove. But I love how good they are. These are still essentially brand new. And then B, whole step lower than B is A, so I've got to go to A on this B string. And if you're tuning later, I'm tuning this low because I've just been wanting to experiment with that low sound. I love the timbre of a low string, low strings. Now I can tell you right now, this string already sounds dead. It does not have the timbre that the other one had. And I've always wondered what that could be. It could be the nut, which I don't think it is. It also could be underneath the string tree, where it may have oxidized or whatever. I never really get underneath the string trees and clean those out. Maybe I should do that. Now listen to the resonance here. And then, to me, that sounds dead. So I'll go back again, make sure these are tuned. Ooh, that's wrong. That should be B. That's a B. It needs to go down an A. There we go. And this should be another D. Now, if I'm going to keep this tuning, one thing I definitely want to do is memorize the actual string names for this lower tuning. And that needs to be lower. That needs to be a D. This needs to be G. F sharp, so we're right at it. Okay, so that's close enough. What I do after that is I'll take and I'll stretch the strings. So I no longer need this. All these string packages can be thrown away. I never like to have a cluttered workspace, so always clean up after yourself. Put this pen back up now that I'm done with it. All right, good deal. Making sure I still got sound. The reason I'm checking my sound is because I'm using a wireless lapel mic. I did a review on this on Amazon a few months back. It's from Comica. It's a brand that I've been reviewing lately here on the channel. Really good quality stuff. And I just want to make sure the battery's holding up. I see a few more things here. Great value means, yeah, my uncle plays with phosphor bronze. They just sound so much better. Exactly. So if you like the sound of them, try them out. I highly recommend. Out of curiosity, what string brand do you usually use? Do you use Elixir? Do you use Martin? D'Addario? What do you use on your acoustics? Because you could always go with that same brand, but try the phosphor bronze. Zachariah Turner. Don't know if you've ever tried them, but you most certainly should try the D'Addario XT phosphor bronze. XT. I may have tried those. Let's find that out. DXT. I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but I never can spell phosphor correct. I always think it's an ER instead of OR on the end. XT. Oh, okay. That's kind of like what I would consider the equivalent of their NYXL. I haven't tried their XT. Are they coated? Derlin Styles. I was definitely hearing some distortion through the mic when playing the guitar. Voice is fine. Okay. Yeah, this my audio interface is having some really big issues for some reason with the it wants to change to a higher frequency. I don't know why it wants to always stay on there, but it does. I turn it down, it comes back up. I don't know what's going on with that. Probably just need to tell the guys over at Evo about that. Don't know why it's doing that. If I did it with this one, will it still do that? Yeah, it still goes back. Okay, so anyway. Yeah, I have, let's see, I use D'Addario 11 gauge, 80/20 bronze. 11 gauge, that's pretty lot. D'Addarios. So yeah, so try D'Addarios then, great value. And try their phosphor bronze if you want to try that. Just go with the same brand. As far as the D'Addario XT, are they coated? That's what I want to know. I would like to find a good coated string that is cheap. And it's just not available. Now, these are, let's see, most popular acoustic alloy with advanced corrosion resistance treatment, preserving the natural tone and feel of uncoated strings. That leads me to believe they're probably coated then. Treatment on every string stretch. So there's some kind of corrosion resistance there. Advanced corrosion resistance, treatment on every string, providing the natural tone. Now, I've used their EXP, but I haven't used their XT. Their EXPs, with me, D'Addario has always been hit or miss. I don't know about anybody else, but every other pack would be a good pack, then a bad pack, then a good pack, then a bad pack. So that's my, experience with D'Addario, at least on the EXP side. And I think maybe even the XL, the electric guitar string, maybe. But they're only $12. Elixirs have gone up to $17.99, and it's hard to get those any cheaper than that, unless you can find. Now, the bad thing about that is The 80/20 bronze are on sale all the time. You can get a 3 for the price of 2 all the time. Buy a ticket, one free. But there are never any sales on phosphor bronze. I do not know why. They're always on sale for 80/20. It really always gets me aggravated. Let me go back real quick. I've got to check that out. Web strings. I want to see if they have coated strings. And you guys can check them out at webstrings.com. Classical banjo mandolin. They have banjo strings, classical guitar strings, electric bass strings, acoustic guitar strings, and electric guitar strings. Acoustamag, Resophonic. What in the world is Acoustamag? Oh, they're for pickups because they're magnetic. They're pure nickel. So that's like the Monel almost. So electric guitar strings, let's just go to plain, or not electric, acoustic. Acoustic, phosphor bronze, 6 strings. Wire, phosphor bronze wire wrapped onto a hex core, which is what most of them are. Our Portland acoustic guitar strings will unlock your guitar's full potential. Just the right tension and feel, blah, blah, blah. Compare quality and price to anyone else's. We win every time. So I don't see anything about them being coated, but I'm willing to give them another try. It's been a while since I've done that. I've done any web strings. All right, so like I was saying, what I do now is I take and I stretch these strings out. Typically it's here, here, and then also I take and push them down here because that'll help eliminate tuning problems and issues later. And I'm going to go ahead and leave my phone on, take it off silent because I'm expecting my wife to let me know anytime she's on her way home, and I don't want her to jump in on a live stream. All right, so I do that with every one of these, and I go back and tune them again. All right, so let's tune these again. And that's a good sign. They're actually still pretty close to being in tune. Usually only takes about 2 or 3 times of doing that until they get just about to where they'll stay in place for the tuning. That is a dead string. The E doesn't sound too bright either. I feel like I've got sticky stuff all over my hands. Check, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2. I don't know why that's taking. The only other thing I can think of is maybe turn it down on this if I can get that to work. I don't know if I can or not, but that's like a full signal here. Let's see. Volume. Let's turn the volume down to about 10. And now let's look at it. I can always turn the volume down on this. Check 1, 2. Oh, and look what happens. Stinking thing compensates. Oops. Volume. If I turn it down to like 5, check 1, 2, it's going to compensate. I had it on like 15. I'm going to keep it on 15, I guess. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. I tell you what, let me let it go through its little auto gains adjust setting here again and see what happens. One, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. And we're back. And apparently it still has that issue. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. Okay, so back to our tuning. Seems like this guitar's always had issues, though, with the B string being kind of like a weird dead string sound. And for any of you that don't know, what I'm doing there is harmonics at the 12th fret. A lot of times when the string is too low, tuner won't pick it up. So I'll use a harmonic to make it have the octave of that, and it picks that up a lot better. Okay, so close enough. We go back. Oops. Sorry, baby. We go back and we do the same thing. Stretch. I don't really worry about pushing down here anymore. You got to be careful because you can actually lift these out of the nut. You got to make sure they go back in. You just try to stretch those out as good as you can get them. Give this another tune. This also, man, I'm clipping bad. This also might be the microphone issue might be because of This also might be the microphone issue might be because of I'm using the wireless, so it may be because it's always sending a signal to the actual receiver, and so it's adjusting on the fly. So that's probably what's happening. If I don't talk, then there's no signal, and so the audio is bumped up. And when I talk, it's too loud. So I have to remember that. I apologize for any audio qualities. At least the video looks amazing. That's almost on the mark right there. Well, it sounds so good, those low strings. Do this one more time, then I'm going to adjust the truss rod because it needs it. If I'm going to have a lower set of strings, if I decide to go back up to full set, then I'll adjust the truss rod again. I'll need to go back to my case. No, actually, I might not because I've got some truss rod or some Allen wrenches in my drawer back here. And by the time, once you get to where the string barely moves after stretching like that, then you're good to go. So it usually takes me about 3 times every time I tune my strings or change them to get that. I just thought of something. I want to play Captain John on here on these lower strings. Oh, well, that'd be so pretty. Now, I can't sing it that low. It's usually an E flat, so I'd have to actually, instead of the capo being here, I'd have to be playing it way up here, which to me would feel like playing a toy guitar. I rarely put a capo on the 15th fret or the 5th fret, and I don't like to do that. But if I'm recording or somebody else is 3 people playing in C right here, then I usually probably try to go up because it blends a lot better. Oh, Susanna. Man, I don't think I've ever played that. All right, so that actually sounds good in a C. All right, so now let's snip these strings. Go ahead and snip those off. And I usually like to, if you've got a pair of wire clippers like this, to where the one side is a snipper, I usually take and put the side that's flat against the string, and I'll rest it on the string post. And that's just about all the length that you need. But what I'd like to do first is wrap it around where it needs to go and then come back, straighten it up. That way it's a lot easier to wrap. And you never want to do it at an angle. Always keep it straight, because if you put it at an angle, then it's going to make a sharp spot there. You don't want that to happen. I actually seen a video where one guy was taking the strings and going back and forth and bending them until they came out and there was nothing at all in the hole. And I'm kind of leery of that. I don't like that idea of that happening. I'm always afraid that one of the strings will come loose or something. Okay, and usually when you do this, it kind of detunes the guitar just a little bit. You just got to go back and retune that part of it. I really had a good time with everybody. Just going to, like I said, take these strings ends off here, and then I'm going to spray it down, maybe play a tune or two, see what Captain John sounds like on it, and then we'll call it a day and let you guys get back to what you're doing. Thank you for spending your time here with me today. Let me know if you like this live stream. Let me know if you liked the picture. I think the picture quality was great. I think I'll continue using YouTube. If I can ever share my screen, that'll be the way to do it. I've tried using OBS software for streaming. Absolutely hate it. I had so many issues with it. So I went to first I went to Lightstream, and then they got to where they're charging. So I found StreamYard. And they're charging, but you can still get on their platform and stream and not have a lot of hiccups, and you can have multiple camera angles and stuff like that. But you can only stream at 720 unless you pay for a subscription. So the only time I'd want to do that is if I'm doing something like this. But I like the way the video looks so well, I don't want to change it. I do not want to change it. So if I can somehow get back to my screen sharing, we will have ourselves some good times. Any more questions or anything? Okay, here's a few more. Sorry, guys, I didn't see those. Okay, Darren says, I recently switched to Elixir phosphor bronze strings. I tried their 8020s first and didn't like them as much. Great Value Meme says I might go up to a 12 gauge. I know the tone would be better. What do you think? I was actually going to suggest you go to a 12 gauge. I didn't because I don't know if you want to deal with all the setup. Really, you know, if you're going to switch gauges, you need to have your guitar professionally set up unless you know how to do it yourself. Basically, they adjust the truss rod. They may need to adjust the saddle height, depending on if there's buzzing or anything like that. If you change string gauges, usually you have to change your guitar setup, though. Thankfully, all I'm going to have to do looks like is a truss rod adjustment on mine, since I've got the same gauge strings, but I've got a lower tuning. But yeah, I would definitely recommend go up to a 12 at least. 12 to 53 is your friend. Light gauge, just regular light gauge strings, especially if you're used to 11s, definitely go to that. Darren says, I also switched to playing 11s after a forearm injury and was pleasantly surprised that they didn't feel too light. I've always preferred heavier strings. That's nice. It's a good little tip. That's why I bought the 8020s first, because they were cheaper. Yeah, exactly. Phosphor bronze is a little more expensive. But for me, they're worth it. They've got the tone. So let's check our tuning one more time. And then I got to go over there and get. No, I don't have to. If I can get an Allen wrench that works, I won't have to go to the case. So I'm checking my tuning one more time. Oh yeah, and that brought it down. When you do that, it kind of releases tension on the string. So, but I'm not going to go back and do the stretching all that. I've already done that before. It's fine. These are very fine tuners, sensitive tuners. That B is starting to act up. is. I know. It's what. Okay, so let's adjust that truss rod real quick. See if I've got a Allen wrench in here that'll help. I don't remember if it's which exactly it is. Got two different ones here I could use. Might not have, I don't think that'll work. It won't get in there too good enough. What about that one? What about a 4? No, I gotta get a big one. I'm going to get my capo while I'm at it. Bear with me. We're just about done, guys. Appreciate you taking the time with me. Like I said, I've never really done the story of this guitar, I don't think. And there's my Allen wrench. All right. Let's see what we got here. Take a little Allen wrench key. Put that in there. I might actually have to tighten it. So I'm going to tighten it a quarter turn. It's actually the way you'd base this is from the headstock. So it's from the headstock, you're looking down, and the righty tighty is the headstock. So I'm going to take and turn it a quarter turn. That's about right. And then I may need another quarter turn. We'll just give it a few minutes, see what it sounds like, see what it looks like, and go from there. You should be able to notice a difference fairly immediately. Some people I've heard that you let it rest for a day or two, but I've never really had that to worry about. So, man, so the new tuning then is D, G, right? D, G, C, F, A, D. D, G, C, F, A, G. What could be an acronym to remember that? D, G, dogs go. D, G, C, F. D, G, C, F. Dogs go crazy for D, G, C, F, A, B. Dogs go crazy for a bone. There's your acronym. If you want to detune your guitar, remember the acronym. Dogs go crazy for a bone. No. Not a B. It's a D on the end, so it's something else. Dogs go crazy for a... I don't want to say dog again. Dogs go crazy for a... Maybe it could be something besides dogs. Maybe if you're a hunter like me. Does go crazy for a... I don't know. Help me out on that. Put something in the comments. Dogs or does or deer go crazy for... Could be A or another A word. Dogs go crazy for a... I don't know. We'll have to think of that. If I can think of one, I will leave it in the description of the comments. All right, let's spray this bad boy down, play a little bit, and then we'll call it a day. How's that sound, guys? I think it sounds good to me. All right, so I'm going to take that, like I said, I'm going to take that rag, put it over the sound hole, and grab my stuff here, and just give it a light spray. Just like that. That's it. That's all you got to do. And you get that nice smell. It's got a nice smell. All right, once again, that is Finger Ease by Tone. Check out my links below. There's a link to my gear page, and you should be able to find this stuff on there. Any other comments real quick? Okay, looks like that's it. Okay, just going to let that sit a minute. And wow, this has been over a 2-hour live stream. It's felt a little longer today. Definitely felt a little bit longer. How do you like this background? I wanted to try something besides the wall of guitars there. And I know a lot of people, when they do music videos, show their desks and everything. I got my 11 rack over here. My main monitor, my other monitor is actually in front of me. You can't really see it. It's on top of this rack here where you can see Slimer. My MIDI keyboard, my regular keyboard, laptop, and all that. So yeah, it's kind of junky, I know, but it's got everything I need. All my pedals are down here on the floor. You can't really see those. All right, so that's good enough wait time. Now I'm going to take my hand and just slide them up these strings, because it didn't spray over here, but I can take this and wipe them on there. And then I just take and I kind of press so that it gets some of the stuff off the neck. Okay, because it's actually pretty wet. So I don't want to leave a lot of residue there, but it looks like I'm going to have to. It looks like there's a lot of it in there. That should be fine, because it'll just help oil the guitar. So now, a little quick tune again, and then we'll play a little bit of something and call it a day. Dogs go crazy for Alpo. Nah. I will say, when I hit that harmonic, it really resonates through the body of this guitar. Okay, so it looks like to me I'll need another truss rod turn. So I'm going to do that real quick. Same deal. And if I find it's not doing anything, then I'll go the other direction, because I think pretty much it's supposed to be from, and I could be wrong on that. Let me tell you what, let me go back the other direction. I seem to think that it was the other direction from when you were doing it from the bottom, from below. So that's one turn. Yeah, because it's getting tighter. So that's where it was. Now I'm going to tighten it up from there. I can get that in there. Let's get it on. There we go. So half turn, not half, but half of a quarter, and then back to the right there. Now that's tightening. So if the truss rod's down here, it's going this way, righty-tighty. If it's in the neck up here, it's going this way, righty-tighty. So I did that wrong. I loosened it instead of tightening it. So now, see what's going on. So traditionally, usually Captain John, the Legend of Captain John, is played in. Wow, it's really on there. It's played in E flat, which is here normally on a regular tuned guitar. And that sounds almost too dark. So we're going to switch back to this Tortec. Now I can already tell that the tuning is way off up the neck there. Let's play around some improvisation. Maybe because that was off. Have you found out a phrase yet? Dogs go crazy for A, or dogs get cold from. I don't know. I thought that was way high. All right, sounds good. Any other questions, comments? I see none. Let's try playing just some regular bluegrassy thing. Now these strings are still stretching, so I just got to watch out for that. I kind of like that Susanna. Let's try that again. That's a weird shape. Let's try Gold Rush in this low key. Let me think of it. How did Tony do that? I haven't played that in a long time. And then also Cherokee Shovel, one of my favorites. Love that song. If I can remember how it goes now, I got the other in my head. How does it go? Sloppy, I know, but a long time since I played either one of those. All right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the show today. It has been a good one, I think. And this guitar looks amazing in high quality. What do you think? Does it suit me after all these years? I think it feels great. The neck is so thin, but I don't really notice any quirks. I haven't noticed anything that is kind of weird to me. The action, still think it needs to be tightened one more spot. So I'm going to tighten it up once more and leave it at that. Don't want to go overboard. Don't want to mess my truss rod up or anything like that. But I think it needs one more turn. It's already kind of tight. So I'm just going to kind of halfway turn it. So far, I haven't really noticed that these are a 80-20 bronze. But that's because I just put them on. I give them a week and you'll notice for sure. Trust me. I just love that low tuning. I'll come up with an acronym. Dogs go crazy for a... Dogs go crazy for another dog. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But anyway, at this point, guys, I'm starting to ramble. So I'm ready to get off here and do other things. That's still fairly wet. I don't like that. I probably sprayed too much on there. Can I get that clean at all? No, not really. That'll be fine. It's all right. So at this point, I can tell that they're definitely non-coated strings. I mean, I can feel the kind of the resistance. That finger ease helps a lot. But I'll eventually probably want to get some actual real coated strings on there again. I don't know. We'll see if I can get by with the the coated spray stuff and then feel good enough. Then I mean, it works for my electrics. I don't need coated strings for my electrics. So I don't know. We'll see. But guys, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you tuning in. I know it's been 2.5 hours of your time that you could have been doing something else. Appreciate you. I will see you guys next week. Don't know what the video is going to be. I've kind of been under the radar with some of the videos. I haven't been releasing too many lately because I've just been working on other projects. I've got a lot of stuff in the works. I've got a new song I'm trying to get released. I'm trying to get finished recording, actually, that I'm doing for kind of a competition thing. I've got another song that I need to mix for my Revival in the Air album project. And I've got a new course I'm working on, too. I just released the Beginner Bluegrass Guitar course back in December. But I was already working on this course before that one came along. So that was kind of like a rush process. And this one I'm kind of taking a little bit more time with. Hopefully, maybe it'll be out by this summer. But I think you guys are going to like it. But in the meantime, if you'd like for me to play on your project, contact me. I'm at Sound Better. You can find me on there. You can also find me on Air Gigs. If you go to ericbeatty.com/soundbetter or ericbeatty.com/airgigs, I'm on both of those. And you can contact me. I'd love to be able to play guitar on your piece, on your project, rhythm, solos, acoustic or electric. I do it all. I got tons of gear that I can use to make it sound the best possible that I can make it. And I've already had a few satisfied customers from that. So please check me out on Sound Better or Air Gigs. And subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more content like this. Subscribe so you can give me your opinion of what you think of these videos and what you'd like to see here on this channel. A lot of people overwhelmingly want to see more bluegrass stuff, so I'd like to be doing more of that. And now that I've got a little bit more of a, I don't know, a motivation, kind of a new spark with this guitar, bringing it out of hiding, so to speak, I'm definitely wanting to do more stuff with it. So we'll see. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm going to get off here. You guys have a blessed day, and I'll see you on the next video. Stay tuned for what's to come.